Welcome back, guys, to Ace Attorney Investigations 2, Prosecutors Gambit, where last episode, after plugging in the second horn to the plush Taurus horse's head, we learnt the truth of Sean Fenn, that Dijun Wang was his biological father and that Gavel had adopted the young film star after her cousin, Sean's mother's death. Returning to the empty lot, we then started to work our way to the real story of the SS5 incident, figuring out that the president died instead of being kidnapped all those years ago, with his body buried by a planter that was dug up in this lot, forming the footprints, and uncovering a conspiracy enacted by Lagarde, Excelsius Winner, and the president's body double that 12 years later resulted in the double's death, as we now continue working the overlapping cases out. So that's how it all went down. I'm so glad we finally figured it out. Yes, it's a mouthful as well to do as an intro. Blimmin' hell, there's a lot that went on last episode. Wait, but there's one thing I still don't get. There is. What? Why did they need to pretend there was a kidnapping? Mr. Alldown had seen the president at the orphanage, and left a message on Mr. Ringer's phone describing what he thought he saw. It would have been impossible for the conspirators to erase that message, so they had to make it look as if the events described in the message were true, by staging a kidnapping like the one he thought he saw. Exactly. I think the two people in the photograph are likely to be the body double and Fifi Lagarde. She's the one in the trench coat. How can you be so sure of that? The two of them would have had to walk out beyond the orphanage gates to stage the photo. The body double could have put his feet in the real president's prints as he did before. Oh, so the other set of footprints were hers. The ones we originally thought belonged to the killer, yes. They were about a size 9, too small for Chairman Winner, in other words. Which means the kidnapper must have been played by Warden Lagarde. And that explains how a so-called kidnapping was actually a presidential assassination. It does, which means my father must have... He must have? Notice, there's no way he wouldn't have suspected a murder. Especially not with a kid's picture as proof. But the picture was never officially put into evidence, correct? No, he appears to have kept hold of it after taking the witness statement of the child who drew it. Yeah, because he knew. He knew President Wang was dead. And he knew what would happen if that news ever got out. Zheng Fa would have been plunged into chaos, no doubt. So he kept it a secret, and that secret died with him. Even though it meant taking the blame for the kidnapping, and our family name being ruined. So your father knew the truth about what happened 12 years ago, but he chose to hide it. Well, it's finally coming to light at last. The SS5 incident case file has been updated. You keep that music, though. Is it indeed? Intriguing. Who's this? Huh? What? Who's there? Oh, ho, 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 ho. That sound. Is that a bell? Did you not change clothes? Bodhidharma Kanis! What the heck are you doing here? Has anyone got a gun? With a law! You think you'd just show up in front of us like it ain't a problem? Forgive me, but I couldn't help overhearing the fascinating conversation you were having. The opportunity to gloat over your past crimes was just too good to miss, I expect. You killed President Wang. I did, but it's not something I'm inclined to gloat over. I was more interested in something else you mentioned. Or someone else, should I say. Someone you're looking for, I suppose. Exactly. That's why I took a little sojourn from the penitentiary to find a certain young pup. A young pup in a rather eye-catching red raincoat. What? Wait, you know who they are? In a manner of speaking. What did you call them again? A secret mastermind. It's your friend in the red raincoat, of course. Red raincoat? The prosecutor looks a little surprised, doesn't he, Helmut? Yes, he does. The young pup I mentioned, he saved my life, you know, 12 long years ago. What? We're just gonna take testimony from you? My unexpected savior? As you have surmised, it was I who killed President Wang. But that meant that I too became an inconvenience in need of removal. The imposter president, Winner, Lagarde, all three were keen to guarantee my silence. And if I had met my friend, the young pup, again, they might even have succeeded. I wonder what he's doing now. So it was the president's body double who hired you. I remember his words almost as if it were yesterday. You know how many times I've nearly been killed? Not once, not twice, a bunch of times. Why do I have to take all the risks? Why am I the one they always put in danger? When I'm out there being him, people treat me like I was him. They worship me. So what's the difference? Who's to say I couldn't be just as good as him? There was a difference, of course, even if he did look and sound exactly like him. Just because he walks and talks like a president, that doesn't make it a president, does it, boy? No. So he got his wish and became the boss, but couldn't quite fill his predecessor's shoes. Rook's not around. That means I'm number one. I wonder if you have what it takes to step into such capable shoes. You. Of course I do. I'm the leader now. Me! Seems the king and his knight were much the same. The president's double knew that his employer had a weakness, a young woman named Emily. But in order to find her, he needed to enlist the help of locals. Locals such as Chairman Winner. Once Miss Fenn had been located, they simply needed to find the right time to lay their trap. The meeting she arranged so the president could meet his son. That would have been the perfect opportunity. Indeed. And with the head of the orphanage brought into the fold, their little conspiracy was complete. Warden Lagarde. Now, quid pro quo. Where might I find the pup? What makes you think the boy who helped you and our mysterious string puller are one and the same? He set a little fire that night, out there in the yard of the orphanage. Oh, yeah, we saw that. It was some kind of a prank, right? A prank? It was nothing of the sort, my dear. Now, as I understand it, he had taken refuge in the igloo by the entrance. From there, he happened to see Winner and Lagarde carrying away a dead body. You also overheard them hatching a certain sordid little plot. A plot to remove me, the only other person who knew what had really happened, from the picture. Thankfully, he was kind enough to come and inform me. I was waiting inside the building, you see. He also happened to mention later on that he was wearing his favorite red raincoat. In any case, he escorted me from the premises. And, being a very considerate boy, thought to erase both our footprints from the scene of the crime. It seems he had a little kerosene set aside in the igloo for just such an occasion. Oh, okay. So he spread it liberally about the place and set himself a little fire. No way! So that's what the fire was for. It must have been ever so beautiful. Winner and Lagarde were positively enchanted. And while they were distracted by the show, he took the opportunity to usher me out of a side entrance. You never answered my question. You really think he's the one behind all this? I do indeed. Don't I, Helmet? Yes, yes, I do. Okay then, let's get pressing. As you have surmised, it was I who killed President Wang.
Hold it!
You were pretty forthcoming with that particular admission. If I'm honest, Mr. Edgeworth, I'm tired of all the killing. But back then, I felt that death was my path. I embraced it and strove to learn what it had to teach. I have made my peace with that, and I am happy to admit it, aren't I, boy? Yes, yes, I am. I'm not sure what he's talking about, but I definitely don't like the sound of it. Basically, he thought nothing of murdering the president. And not only is he an assassin, he's now a prison escapee, not someone to be trifled with. But we can't afford for him to not talk. I'll need to tread as carefully as I can. Very well, you killed the president, and you're happy to admit it. Oh, very much so. I wouldn't want you thinking that I drew my blade and missed. But that meant that I too became an inconvenience in need of removal.
Hold it!
You, a target, but you're an assassin. Sometimes the hunter must become the hunted. Sometimes the living must become the dead. Please, Kay, don't feel the need to add a proverb of your own. Yes, look at weird thing. Okay, what do you want from that statement there, Kay? Impermanence is inherent to the way of the assassin. Life takers' lives are taken, so it goes. Wait, does that mean the people you're sent to kill sometimes try to kill you back? Or... It happens, occasionally, but it is not what happened this time. The imposter president, winner, Lagarde, all three were keen to guarantee my silence.
Hold it!
But Mr. Kanis, you're a professional killer, and a famously skilled one at that. Surely escaping even 3 attackers would have been little more than a minor inconvenience. You overestimate me, Mr. Edgeworth. You seem to forget that without helmet here, I couldn't even walk down the street. Against 3 assailants, I wouldn't have lasted more than a few moments. I see. So even the most proficient assassins are ill-equipped to face a full frontal assault. We're not hugely fond of such situations, shall we say? I certainly wouldn't have liked my chances. And if I had met my friend, the young pup, again, they might even have succeeded.
Hold it!
Again. So the two of you had met before. Yes, on a cold and lonely Christmas Eve, 18 years back. That long ago. But on that occasion, it was I who saved his life. It was snowing, more than it had in years, and cold enough that death by freezing was a real possibility. I had taken Helmut out for a little walk. He noticed something and bounded off through the snow. When I caught up to him, he was sniffing at a car. The doors had frozen shut. It took all the strength I had, but eventually, I managed to open one. And inside I found 2 young boys, shivering and semi-conscious. 2. Yes, and had I found them even an hour later, the poor wretches would never have made it. I took them both to a nearby orphanage. Is it me, or is there something significant about what he just told us? Yes. What is it about Canis' statements especially noteworthy? The statute of limitations? This was on Christmas Eve 18 years ago. You're certain of that? I am. Oh, holy smokes! We have something that shows why that date is so significant. Do we? Which piece of evidence relates to the date on which Mr. Canis found the children? Must be something we've recently been getting. That says 5. But we're looking for something related to 18 years ago. Body of Artie Frost found. Carmelo Gusto and Artie Frost's sons would both visit Tangaroa's mansion up through the day before the incident. From the day of the incident onward, their whereabouts are unknown.
Take that!
That was the same day on which a certain incident occurred. The murder of a well-known sculptor. No way! An incident in the aftermath of which 2 children went missing. The son of the victim, Artie Frost, and the son of the murderer, Carmelo Gusto. Yeah, now you mention it, the little guys did go AWOL, huh? Intriguing. The son of a murderer and the son of his victim. I suppose that would make sense. It would. One of the boys was bound hand and foot, you see. That must have been part of Mr. Frost's plan to stop Mr. Gusto's son from getting to the competition. Indeed, because without his son to taste his creations, Mr. Gusto would have had no chance of winning. So that was what was behind it all. Sadly, neither of the boys were able to remember any such details. They weren't. No, when we met each other again on that night 12 years ago, the young pup explained it to me. It seems that they really were on the brink of death when I found them. And the shock of the experience caused them both to lose their memories. They weren't even able to remember their names. Wow, so they wouldn't have known they were Mr. Frost and Mr. Gusto's kids. If what he's telling us is true, that would seem likely, yes. Which means we still don't have enough to tell us who our mastermind might be. Mr. Canis, would you mind telling us what happened next? By all means. The pup and I. The pup and I remained in contact even after I was sent to prison. But then I stopped hearing from him. I couldn't help but worry. And then people from 12 years ago started cropping up all over the place. It rather piqued my curiosity, so I thought I'd temporarily regain my freedom and look into things. People from 12 years ago? You mean Lagarde, Winner, and the president, I assume? Well, Warden Lagarde was in charge of the prison where he was an inmate this whole time, right? I fear I wasn't as kind to her as I could have been. But then she did try to have me killed. You already know why, of course. Because you murdered President Wang, but they needed the world to believe he was still alive. If somebody had exposed the president as a fake, it would have been bad for Lagarde and Chairman Winner too. Exactly. And not only that, I happened to overhear something else intriguing that night. I'll be at the orphanage on the evening of the 9th. I'll be waiting in the front yard. I thought you could meet him if you like, even if it's only just this once. I know you're a very busy man, but anyway, that's where we'll be. Goodbye. Oh, you heard the recording? Who are you? Sorry, but I'm waiting for somebody. I know you are, President Wang. I couldn't help overhearing the news. Congratulations. But please don't worry about your son. I only kill those I am employed to kill, which in this case means you. No. Wait, this is my first chance to meet him. And it might be my only chance. Please, give me just a few minutes longer. I thought he was going to beg for his life, but no. An interesting character. I told him I was not aware that he had a child. No, he said, and shook his head. Neither was I, but the world will know that I have one now. I mean to make sure of it. I've even prepared something in case the worst comes to the worst. And the son in question, it was the young gentleman with the horns here, correct? Horns? You can see them? Yeah, that's a bit weird. I don't need to, my dear. I've been listening very carefully, you see. And for longer than you may realize. So the president meant to tell the world about Sean, prepared something in case of the worst. But it's not enough simply to have Canis's word on the matter. Of course! We have something that proves what he's telling us the president said is true. The will. A will everybody knew about. He entrusted it to my family to show his belief in us after all. The name in the recording, the preparations he had made, and his will. With those 3 pieces of information, I was able to convince Warden Lagarde to do anything I asked. With the information at his disposal, he could have exposed the truth about the body double at any time, and Sean's true identity with it. President Wang was more agile than I'd anticipated. He blocked my first knife thrust with something soft. Ah. By the time the piece I'd broken off hit the snow, my next strike had hit its mark. So it was Canis who tore the horn off of the Torosaurus doll. I was the only one present to hear his final words. The only one who knew the truth about his son. Well, me and that poor pup. So the pup knows everything too. The pup and I remained in contact even after I was sent to prison.
Hold it!
So you were able to continue communicating with him from prison. I was via a post office box. What's that? It's a means of exchanging mail without revealing one's own address. I never knew where he was, and I wasn't able to slip out and track him down. I was being kept under rather strict supervision, you see. By Warden Lagarde, no doubt. What were the two of you even communicating about? We were playing correspondence chess, of course. That and griping about our respective lots in life. Correspondence chess? But didn't you used to play that with... As unlikely as it may seem, Mr. Canis's chess opponent was... Mr. Knight. Yeah, it was Mr. Knight. We found the diagram of the game in his cell too. Okay then. So does that mean Knight had something to do with all that IS-7 business? Wait, could that be it? No? Do we have any evidence that might connect Knight to the IS-7 incident? Do we? Oh, we do. Yes, we do. I was like, let's look for Knight stuff. This is Knight stuff. And then, of course, with this, it has the ring, the Paul Halik ring with it as well. So, that must literally be it.
Take that!
This is everything Knight left behind. Could there be a clue in here somewhere? A ring and a chess set. Which one should we look at more closely? Well, the obvious answer, the chess set, the ring. Of course the ring, don't be silly. The ring. What about it, Mr. Edgeworth? Mr. Fender, take a closer look at it if you would. We've only decided now to look at it. That design. That's Paul Halik's trademark. Mark. Indeed. It looks like somebody turned the stamp he used to sign his work with into a ring. But why would Knight have been carrying it? And why was it not with the rest of the evidence from the IS-7 incident? They tried to release Frost's personal effects to his next of kin after the case wound down. But if I remember right, old Frosty Boy didn't have any family aside from his kid. And the kid was missing, so they never got to hand it back to him. Not till later, anyhow. I heard on the grapevine that they found him in the end and gave him the goods. Including the seal, it would seem. Which he turned into a ring and wore until his own death. Knight's possessions data updated in my organizer. So we're saying Mr. Knight was Mr. Frost's son. The cops don't mess around with stuff like that. They would have made sure before handing it over. And we were looking for somebody connected to the IS-7 incident who played correspondence chess, right? Wait, so our secret string puller is Bronco Knight?
Objection!
Yeah, well, he's dead now. Knight is dead. How could he possibly be involved in our current case? Far out. So our only candidate for genius mastermind is a guy who already kicked the bucket. That's impossible. How could a dead guy be behind all this? It is a little perplexing, but then who else could it be? Let me go. I can tell you. Just let me present something. Well, we should continue pressing.
Hold it!
Process of elimination, everyone. He stopped responding. That seems strange. I'm glad you agree. Helmut did too, of course. That big scary mutt really said that. What, like, woof woof, that's barking mad. He does not need to talk in order for me to hear him, my dear. He doesn't? Okay, well then let me ask you something. That look he's giving me. The super intense, kind of scary glare. He's not trying to say he's hungry, is he? He might be. He might be. Mr. Edgeworth, help! Kay really isn't fond of Canis's pet, it seems. Well, people shouldn't be. It's a murder dog. Yes, that's a good boy. Now, where was I? Oh, of course. I suddenly stopped hearing from the pup. Literally one of his two weapons. And then people from 12 years ago started cropping up all over the place.
Hold it!
It does all seem like a little too much of a coincidence, doesn't it? An attempt was made on the life of the man who was pretending to be President Wang all these years. Warden Lagarde murdered Bronco Knight while he was being held at the prison she ran. And Excelsior Winner, chairman of the Committee for Prosecutorial Excellence, murdered Rosie Ringer. And the more I think back, the more it seemed at the time that some mysterious other presence was lurking behind all those incidents. Yes, even from behind bars, it was rather obvious that something strange was going on. It rather piqued my curiosity, so I thought I'd temporarily regain my freedom and look into things.
Hold it!
You thought you'd temporarily regain your freedom? Could you be any more brazen? Yeah, even a thief would struggle to get away with something like I thought I'd temporarily steal it. Fear not, nobody was injured in the course of my escape. It wasn't necessary after all. I have my ways. Let's leave it at that, shall we? But leave it at... No way, pal, you escaped. I want to arrest you right now. There'll be no need for that, detective. As soon as my business is concluded, I'll return home to my cell. Are you serious? Prison isn't supposed to be some place you can just stroll in and out of when you please. Strange that you should say that. Weren't you the one who strolled in to try and dig into my past only recently? You! Agent Lang, Detective Gumshoe. I need to be able to question Mr. Canis further. Could you both try to remain calm for now? Sure thing, sir. Kinda knew you were gonna say that. Fine. But I'm not taking my eyes off of Dogman, not even for a second, you hear? I did so used to enjoy tapping out my little letters in Braille. This seems like such a big statement.
Hold it!
In Braille? That's how you wrote all of them. That's right. I have the tools to do so in my cell. So you have to use special tools? I never thought about it before, but I guess that makes sense. And what exactly did you write about, if you don't mind my asking? Oh, this and that. General chit-chat and chess moves, of course. You wrote the chess moves in Braille too. That's interesting. Speaking of chess moves, how does that piece you carved yourself move? The dog? Perhaps we can talk about that later. For now, I'd like to know what happened when the letters stopped. I sat in my cell and tried to imagine where he might have gone. Okay, Nope, I still don't get it. Who does he mean? Who's this pup he keeps talking about? Who indeed? It seems that not even Mr. Canis knows his true identity. So we should focus on what we do know, that there was a connection between the two of them. I'm particularly interested in how that connection was maintained. Well, we have the entirety of the chain, in a sense, laid out before us now. So, of course, we have ourselves some chess correspondence in absolutely normal text. Which means it was translated by someone and handed over. Who handed over the chess set to Knight is really the question. Do I have... Oh, okay, this is just newly entered as evidence. Sent to Bronco Knight by Bodhidharma Kanis, printed rather than handwritten. Printed like off a PC then, really. So there we go. Translated for you all. I'm assuming this was in that when it was handed over after all.
Objection!
You said that you wrote all of your letters in Braille. Is that correct? I don't mean to be rude, Mr. Prosecutor, but you do know about my condition, don't you? That's odd, because the chess diagram we found in Knight's cell didn't contain any Braille at all. Really? But surely that's impossible. How so exactly? Maybe someone typed Mr. Canis' letters out on purpose. Meaning there may have been some sort of intermediary between the two of them. So then... Mr. Canis says he wrote his letters in Braille, and yet... the letters received by Mr. Knight contain no Braille at all. This suggests that there must be a third party who typed Mr. Canis' letters out. Guess it could have worked the same way on the flip side too, right? Whoever it was could have taken Knight's letters and turned them back into Braille. They could indeed. Correspondence chess diagram has been updated in my organizer. I think you and Mr. Knight were both communicating with this person, Mr. Canis. Mr. Canis, the answers you received... they were written in Braille too, yes. So some mysterious middle person really was retyping the Bronx's missives. And that same person might well be our secret string puller. Wait, you're trying to say there's another hidden mastermind behind this whole thing? So who's this new one? And Bronco Knight's son of Artie Frost is already dead. But what if the other child from the incident 18 years ago was actually who we've been looking for? Carmelo Gusto's son. But who is he? And where is he? If Knight was Frost's son, Gusto's son would have to be... I've known him since we were kids, when both of us were all alone. He doesn't have any family, you see. Just like me. Him. But surely not. What's the matter, Mr. Edgeworth? You're white as a sheet. Of course. It all makes sense. I know exactly who our so-called mastermind is. What? Who? You have to tell us. I can hardly believe it, but it's somebody we know rather well. The person we've been looking for is... It's the person who's most lost in a crowd when you even look through all of this stuff as well. Simeon Saint.
Take that!
It has to be. The person behind all of this. The person who forced Chairman Winner's hand by sending the letter to Rosie Ringer. The person who kidnapped Sean and bugged Kay and myself. The person who did the strangest thing of all. Who drugged Kay and carried her up to the roof of the big building. It was the monster. What? Did you really just say what I thought you did? Yes, the monster. That was the key to unmasking our mastermind. Oh, I almost forgot. We're doing a new show soon. I love it if you could come, Mr. Edgeworth. I'll be joining Regina on stage for this one. That's right. The Very Big Circus is the biggest, most fabulous event in town. You'll have oodles of fun. Miss Lloyd, could I ask a favor? Ooh, little old me. What kind of favor? You told us you recorded the sound of Torosaurus breathing fire. Proof? What kind of proof? Did you capture something on your tape recorder, perhaps? Oh, you're good, Ruffles. Sharper and a gosh dang tack. I captured the sound of that big old beastie breathing fire is what I captured. Sure did. Like I said, I didn't precisely see the guy, but boy, did I hear him. Can we listen to the tape? You surely can. Let's see now. That's it. That sound. It must be what I think it is. My theory has to be correct. The truth about the monster, the identity of the person behind all this, it's all falling into place. Miss Hart, you saw a giant eye at the window of the storeroom, did you not? Yep, snap me a picture of it too, even if you can't rightly see it so well. We can't see it right now, but... Detective Gumshoe! Yes, sir! Your image analyzer, can we borrow it again? Sure, but what do you want to look at, sir? This photograph right here. Gotcha, I'm on it. Ah, I can remove blind scan it. The clue we're looking for must be here. We just have to find it. I mean, obviously I should zoom in here. I'm guessing... I'm presenting this.
Eureka!
That's... See, I done told you. Torosaurus, his own dang self. Yes, there it is at last. The monster commanded by the architect of this whole scheme. Well, we are at a very tipping stone point. We are revealing who it is to everyone that's been running this show. Which means that are we going to go chase him down, or is he around here somewhere? I'm assuming that this balloon belongs to a certain place, after all. A balloon? That it has to be. It's flying in the sky, after all. But we will find out. Next time. That was a very tense bit of music, wasn't it? On Ace Attorney Investigations 2, Prosecutors Gambit, starting with this music march yet again. I will see you next time for more as Edgeworth starts to reveal it all. Until then, I say bye-bye.